So it started off, I started writing picture books because I used to be a childminder, and I was always taking the children out in the fields and in the forest, and to make it fun so they didn't realise I was just exercising them, we'd be looking for things like acorns, and we started looking for footprints. And I thought, oh, it'd be lovely if there was a little book that had the different types of footprints for the children to be able to find out what animal has passed where they've been walking. And there's loads of footprint books available. There weren't any picture books for really, really young children. So after I'd finished childminding, I started being an English teacher. And then I took a sabbatical, and I just remembered this book again, and I had grandchildren by then. And I just thought, oh, if I can't find the book, I'm going to write the book. So that's how I started off. I started off with my picture books, and I gained confidence with those. And then I was, because I was an English teacher, I was always teaching children how to write exciting action, adventure, etc. And thought, you know what, I'm going to write an action adventure story as well for teens and tweens. And I've loved it. It's been brilliant. It's been really well received as well. So I'm dead happy with it.
Oh, brilliant. So you are perfectly in a position, because you work, so you work now. Are you still at...
I'm at a different school, but I'm working as a school librarian now, which I absolutely love.
And it's a brilliant position to be in, because you're in that reading, working with books, inspiring kids to read. So that's a perfect position to be an author as well.
I'm so privileged because I see on a daily basis which books children really enjoy, which ones are popular. If they don't like them, I see why they don't like them, because the children are always quick to comment. They love to tell you about the stories they've read. And it's just, I really do feel really privileged to be in a position where I'm talking to children every day about books they love, and then writing books for children.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we've worked together on, which was one of the best projects I've ever worked on, ever in my whole life, was the My Story project.
It was fantastic, wasn't it?
We loved working at that. So just to explain quickly, it was a year long, so an academic year from September to June, July. It was a full academic year, wasn't it?
That's right.
As a publisher, we came in and you were the school librarian, and we worked with one class.
Yes.
And all the students in that class wrote a short book.
That's right, yes, an anthology, yes.
That was then published for sale, and the audiobook of it has just come out finally.
Absolutely.
So you narrated the stories that the students had written.
Yes.
And it was an amazing project, because right at the start of it, they're not first years, year 7 students.
Yes.
And I can remember at the start of it, every single one in the class did not think they could even aspire to writing and finishing a story that would be published.
That's right.
How did you find that process of actually taking children through the confidence?
So it was our nurture group. So every child in there had some kind of issue, whether it was an educational need or whatever. There was some kind of issue that was a barrier to them accessing sort of mainstream schooling. So we had to really work on their confidence as well as all of their literacy skills. And I just found it fascinating and interesting. Everybody's got a story inside them. It's true what you say. Whether you can actually get that story out is another question, but everybody has a story inside them. And it was an absolute joy to see those children. Sort of the penny kept dropping. They would get stuck, and I would say, well, what would happen if you were doing that, if you were in that situation? And then if you remember, everyone had a main character. They gave that main character some kind of issue or special need. Sometimes it was their own, sometimes it was just one that they knew about. So they were working through their own issues as well. And I think one of the important things that I picked up from, and you know, authors know about, is that you can't have a perfect character in a book, because it makes it really boring. Every character has to have a flaw. Even the protagonist and the hero, they still have to be flawed. And I think the children realise that as well, that you don't have to aspire to be perfect. You just have to aspire to be your best you. It was just wonderful. I really loved doing that with them. And thank you for all your help. And I think we should mention as well, thank you to Shine Trust for sponsoring the project.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And one of the things that one of the turning points was, I think it was just before Christmas, everyone their confidence was not high. And I think everyone had written maybe 2 short chapters of their book.
Yes.
Which was a few hundred words. These were short books.
Yes.
And everyone was quite shy about even letting somebody else look at their words. And one of the
Yes.
big turning points was just before the Christmas break, you got everyone, we printed everyone's books. We actually set the books so that they looked, they were in proper typeset.
That's right. Yes.
And you got everyone sitting in your amazing library with the big cushions surrounded by books. And you read out, excuse me, everybody's first couple of chapters without saying whose it was. And the support for everyone in that room,
Yes.
suddenly you could just see all the students' faces where they'd kind of listened to you read their story. And when everyone else was like, wow, that was great. And I loved that. And you could just feel the confidence going up.
Oh,
so
it was incredible, wasn't it? Because
it was amazing.
We didn't announce whose story it was. So each child would be nervous thinking, oh no, I don't want mine read out. Please don't read mine out. And they'd start reading it and everyone would be, oh, I wonder whose it is. And you could just see one child like, their grin grew and grew. And they got round of applause from their friends. And it was so wonderful. It was really, really was. I think the other turning point as well was when we added the illustrations, when your in-house artist added illustrations and then thought, these look just like the books that Miss has in the library, and it was and working with Graham as well, saying what they wanted in those illustrations. Nothing was taken from them. They had complete control project all the way through. We just gave them guidance, and I think that was really powerful for them.
And I think it's something that all writers have, is that worry and fear of wanting, what kind of reception are you going to get from your work? So how do you get that in your writing? Are you part of a writing group, or do you have support? Where do you get your support from?
I probably could do with more support, really. It's terrifying putting a book out there. It's absolutely terrifying. It's like I've drunk 20 gallons of coffee. I'm sort of jumping around all day, mixing between being really excited and thinking, oh, I hope everyone loves it, and thinking, oh, why did I put that out there? It's terrible. No one should see it. I've got to take it off. I've got to take it down. And my husband's like, oh, just calm down. You're always like this. It's okay. I get a lot of support from the artists that I work with. So my picture books, a lady called Shelley Oyston in Yarm, she illustrates those for me. And the illustrator, the name's going to go, isn't it? The illustrator for my middle grade book, which is a very different style of picture, so I use a totally different artist, who is called, I have to come back to you with his name, dear me. But I talk to him a lot about the story, and they're both really encouraging, not just about how the pictures work in there, but they talk to me about the story as well. I've made quite a few online friends. I'm in online groups. So there's a lady who lives in Cornwall. It's so strange, and you've got people from all over the country. I'll probably never meet her, although I'd love to, because apart from meeting her, Cornwall's beautiful. But and she will proofread my books, so beta read my books for me, and I beta read hers. My editor is absolutely amazing. She's just so good. She's called Amanda Horan. And so I suppose I get support more from other writers and the artists and the editor, and you. So it's great.
That's brilliant. So what are you writing now?
So I'm writing the second book in the series that I've got going. It's a middle grade book. The first one is called The Boy Who Couldn't, and it's about 3 boys who have to try and protect a secret badger clan in the woods near one of the boys' houses. And they come across a gang with fighting dogs. So it's quite a gritty story. It's not for too young, I would say 8 minimum, maybe 10 up to 14. Although adults have been reading it and enjoying it, because I'm an adult, reads middle grade as well. But so these boys have been in a big adventure. One of the boys is from a really bad, broken home. These boys didn't used to be friends. In fact, the one from Greg, he used to bully the other 2 boys. But as the reader reads the story, you start to realise why sometimes people appear to sort of have anger issues and start being really violent at what appears to be nothing, because you see the build-up behind what's happening in his family home and everything. So these 3 boys have made quite a tight-knit friendship, and so the book that I'm writing now, which doesn't have a title yet, the boys are going on a camping holiday to Wales, and they're going to come across a puppy farm, so they're going to
try
and expose. Sorry,
it's big issues within the boys' friendship circle, but you're also dealing with some big topics out in the world as well.
Yeah, and I'm a very forgiving person for children who have got behavioural issues, because I just think they don't know any better. A lot of the time, if it's not that they have a special need, a lot of the time it's things that have happened in their lives and they don't have enough life experience to deal with it, and they need professional help or really strong parenting or whatever. But if they're not helped, when they get to adults, it can become really serious. So these boys are coming across adults who have not had that help and who have become really dangerous to society. So I'm trying to sort of show both sides, to have that empathy and sympathy for the child who does have issues and desperately needs support and help, and what can happen if they don't get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they are quite big issues, but it's all about action and adventure and excitement, and these boys really being pushed out of their comfort zone. And you know, I'm loving writing about. I'm going to have to go to Wales to see the mountains myself, but they're in danger from the weather, from the puppy farmer. Their dad, James's dad, who's taken them camping, has obviously had an injury, and that's why he's not able to supervise. So otherwise he would have stopped them going into the puppy farm and things would have been done a more sensible way. But these boys are fired up. Greg does not have very good emotional control, so he tends to lead them into danger, and then they've all got to try and save these puppies and save each other. So yeah, it's exciting to write. I'm loving it.
Brilliant. Have you found the COVID situation? How has that affected? Because you're still working at the school, aren't you?
I am. So I'm a week in, week out. So a week in, I'm supervising a class of children that are key worker or vulnerable children. I'm with the year 10 group, and they're mostly having Zoom lessons, and I'm just making sure everything's okay. And then the week at home, you'd be surprised how much admin there is in being a school librarian. And obviously I'm trying to promote, we've just invested heavily in an e-library so that every child has access to books, because during the first lockdown, you know, children did have some books, but then some children didn't have any books.
Yeah.
And did have books, quickly ran out of books, and the parents ran out of money buying books. So it was really important that we set up an e-library. So I'm trying to promote that. I've got competitions running. They can win Love to Shop vouchers if they read, every time they read an e-book, they get put into the prize draw. So we're still doing Accelerated Reader, which is our reading programme, so that we can have competitive reading. They win donuts and all sorts. Chocolates last terms. So yeah, we just, there's a lot to do at home. So I'm still doing my writing on an evening and a weekend.
Yeah. Do you think this situation has affected people's emotions? And some of our writers have been very anxious and are struggling to write.
Yeah.
Some have been using the time. So you have no time.
No.
And you're dealing with young people who are in quite a stressful situation. Do you find that inspires your writing with the subjects that you're the subject of your book? You're actually dealing with highly strung, anxious teenagers.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, and adults as well. I'm doing a lot of phone calls to friends who are finding it really anxious. I'm quite fortunate that I'm a bit like an ostrich, and if things get too frightened, I bury my head in the sand and pretend it's not happening. So I'm almost unaware, apart from I can't go out on an evening and things. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely feeding into it. Again, Greg, the main character, he wouldn't realise that he has anxiety issues, but he definitely has. And his people with anxiety, they're bubbling up here all the time, aren't they? So the smallest thing can send them over. And that's definitely what's happening with Greg in my book, but that's definitely what's happening with children at school. You see it all the time. When we were briefly back at school for that wonderful one term where we were in, there was a lot of students who were really, really struggling, and you could see, especially the social side. You know, children, I know now, thank goodness, the government allows support bubbles. A lot of children, their support is their grandparents.
Yeah.
Or it's their best friend's family. It really affects all the children in some way or form, even the ostriches like me, and affected to a certain extent. So yeah, it definitely feeds into my writing.
So looking forward, it's the second book in your series that you're going to be releasing, writing
Yes.
it. releasing? Have you got a time scale for that?
No, I probably. The first one took me 4 years because just time constraints and imposter syndrome. When you think, no, I probably can't really write a book, and then a friend will read it for me and say, no, it's fine. Yeah, but you're my friend, aren't you? So you will say that, you know.
Yeah.
But my husband is the type of person that if something's rubbish, he'll say, oh, that's rubbish. So I have got that support. And then, of course, when it got sent out to beta readers and things, but I'm at the same point now. I write quite a few chapters and I think that's brilliant, and I'm sort of dead excited about it. And then I'll read it the next day and I think, oh, what was I thinking? No, this. Oh.
We all go through that.
So I haven't got a time scale. I said to my editor that I would have it done by the end of the summer holidays. I'm about halfway through. That was last summer holidays.
Oh, right, okay.
And I'm halfway through, so she's learning that my time scales don't really work.
Yeah.
I need to be more disciplined, I think. I find one way that it has negatively affected me is when I work from home, I don't separate my schoolwork from my homework. So I was sending emails after midnight last night, not because I'm a workaholic, but because I suddenly thought of something and thought, if I don't do it now, I'll forget. So I do that, and then I'll sit down, I start writing, and I think it's a form of procrastination as well. And I think, oh, I could do this for school and I could do that for school. And I had decided that I was going to always write in the library and not take my phone with me. But of course, the libraries are closed.
Yeah.
The library, I meant the public library in my own time, not school. A million teenagers around me.
Yeah, but it's just weird circumstances, isn't it?
It is. It's strange. I just need to be a little bit more disciplined and say, right, from 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock, that's my writing time. And then if I think of an idea after that, then I can go back to my schoolwork if I want to. That's why I stopped English teaching, because I absolutely loved being in the classroom. I loved English teaching, but because you prepare and mark at home, I had no switch off time, and it really, really affected my mental health. So I had to stop, and it's a shame. But I love my librarian work, and I still do literacy intervention groups. So I still get that little bit of contact and having those eureka moments with the students, but it's all very controlled and just in school time. So it works really well. So I just need to
keep writing time separate at home.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what I need to do.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you ever so much for your time.
Thank you.
Catch up. We'll have to talk more.
Yes, lovely. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'll give you a call. Thank you very much.
See you. Bye. Bye.
Bye now.